Welcome to my YouTube channel. In today's tutorial, I will be teaching you how to draft 10 basic neckline for beginners. What is a neckline? A neckline is the top edge or edges of a garment that surrounds the neck. These neckline are carefully selected for a beginner. The first neckline I will be illustrating is the boat neckline, as the name implies. First things first, the wider the width of the neckline, the shorter the depth, depending on the neckline though. So on this one, I will be using 1 inch plus my nipple to nipple measurement divided by 2. My nipple to nipple measurement for this tutorial is divided by 2 is 3.5 plus 1 inches is going to be 4.5. The both neckline should rest on it should sit on your collar. The depth I will be using for this neckline will be 2. So by the time I connect all these points together, you will see the boot shape. Watch me as I do this. As you can see, look at how curvy it is. Imagine the image of a boot. This is how it looks. Look at the pattern that I cut and with the image on the screen. So the next one we'll be cutting on this tutorial is the square neckline. A square has 4 equal parts. So when you are cutting it, the way I cut my square neckline is the width and the depth. I use the same measurement. If I'm using 3 inches for width, I'll be using 3 inches for depth to give it a square that will be equal. The 2 images you see on the screen, one is very wide and one is just normal. So on this pattern, I'll be using 4 inches for the depth and 4 inches for the width. A square has 4 equal sides. Yes, I think I'm right. So I'm going to connect the line like this. What I'm using for is I don't want mine to be too wide. The nipple to nipple measurement divided by 2 is 3.5. I just added 0.5 inches to it. If you want to make it wide, you can add an inch to your bust span divided by 2. So it will sit on your collar. But I don't want mine to be too wide, so it will sit perfectly. You see how beautiful it is? This is the square neckline. It's based on preference. You can make your own too wide or normal. The next neckline I'm cutting now is the V neckline. The V neckline is formed from 2 diagonal lines from the shoulder that meet at the chest. This neckline can be cut in 2 ways: the curvy V neck and the sharp V neck. I'll be cutting the sharp V neck first. So I'll be using 3 inches for the width. I don't want it too wide. I'll be using 3 inches for the width and 5 inches for the depth. So I will connect it like this first, as you can see, before I bring out the V form. So now I'm going to connect the line I mark at the shoulder down to this point, as you can see, and it give me a perfect V shape. Sorry I didn't adjust the camera well here. So this is the V sharp neck. From this V sharp neck, so I want to cut the curvy V now. So I'm going to measure this diagonal line like this. As you can see, that's 5.5 inches. The half of it is 2.75. So from that point, I will come out by 0.25. Remember, I'm cutting the curvy V neck. I'll come out by 0.25 like this. Then I will just use that point to make a curve on that sharp V. So let me cut out the sharp V first. So that is the sharp V, very sharp. You can see, very, very sharp, not too wide. Remember, your V-neck are not meant to be too wide. So now I'm going to cut out this curve I make around this sharp V to give me a curvy V. You see, it's ready, done and dusted. Very curvy. You see the difference, the sharp V and the curvy V. The next neckline I will be drafting is the split crew neckline. This neckline, I love it so much. If you are just getting to start sewing and you want to make a blouse without a zipper, this is the neckline for you. So for the width, it's just a round neck with a slit in front. So for the width, I'll be using 3 inches. For the depth, I'll be using 3 inches. So I'll connect these points together. I come again, it's a closed round neck with a slit in front. You can make it wide, but this neckline is for every beginner. Let's get back. I've connected the points now, so I'm going to just curve the neckline out as you see me do. You can use your free hand as long as it come out well. So I'll come down by 2 inches to make the sleeve. You can use 3, you can use 4. That depends on what you want. So I'm just going to cut open. You see, it's not as wide and like the one on the image. By the time you sew it, it will be a bit wide. Don't make it too wide on your pattern, because when you transfer to your fabric, it will be too wide. The next neckline is the U neckline. U neckline. First thing I'm going to do is to mark out the width, which is 3.5. Yes, 3.5. I'll be using 3.5 because it's a deep neckline. If a neckline is deep, you don't have to make the width too wide when you're not cutting enough shoulder. So I'll be using 5 for the depth and 3.5 for the width, as you can see on this image. Then I'm going to connect it. It's going to give a U shape after cutting. You see the one in the image is pure U. You can use your free hand. as you are just starting, you don't have to cut directly on your fabric. Just get a pattern paper and practice on it, and you transfer to your fabric. And our U neck is ready. Look at the image on the screen, so perfect and beautiful. So the next neckline I will be cutting now is a round or crew neckline. This is it, round. I like round neckline. For beginner, it's very easy to sew. Just use a bias or a lining. So first thing I'm going to do now is I'm going to get the neck width. I will be using 3 inches by 3 inches. It's a round neckline. If you are going to open it round on the fabric, it will give you a perfect cycle. So it should be equal. The width and the depth should be equal. So I'm going to use 3 inches. I don't want mine too wide. 3 inches by 3 inches. So I will connect the point. I'll bring out the roundness like this. Anytime you are cutting a neckline and you don't know how to go about it, always use the nipple to nipple measurement as a guide. Anything wider than the bust span might be falling off the shoulder. So most time as a beginner, it's better to be too tight than to be too wide for necklines. So what I do is I use my nipple to nipple measurement divide by 2. That's what I will use for calculating the neckline. See how perfect it is. Look at how round it is. So the next neckline I'll be illustrating is scoop neckline. This is a wide and deep neckline. So I will be using 3.5 for the width and 5.5 or 6 inches for the depth. Let me just use 6 inches. So I will connect this point. Remember, when you are trying to make the curve of this scoop neckline, remember it's not a U. It's kind of curvy at the down. But I think U has a wider down part. You don't understand? U has a wider down part and the scoop has a narrow down part. Look at how perfect it is. Like the one on the screen, so perfect. So the next neckline I will be cutting is the spaghetti strap. This neckline you can cut as many. If you are just getting started, you can use this for practice. I will recommend this first for every beginner. You can make so many spaghetti tops with fabric scraps. So what I'm going to do now is I will measure my chest line. I'll measure my chest line out where I want the spaghetti top to start from. You see this image is on a chest line, equivalent other and armhole. But me, I will not want my cleavage to be showing, so I'm just going to use my upper chest line. You can make as many as you can with fabric scraps. So I'm going to cut this off now. So after cutting this off, I will measure the nipple to nipple measurement, which is 3.5. On that point that I marked 3.5, I'm going to create a notch there. That is where I'm going to attach the spaghetti strap. You see how simple it will be? Maybe I'm going to make the sewing tutorial of these videos. So you see, your spaghetti strap is ready. See how beautiful it will look like. Now I want to make the strapless neckline. The strapless neckline, just remove the strap and your strapless is ready. You see how beautiful it is? Now I'm going to be making the sweetheart neckline. I'll be making it in a two-way, the one with the shoulder and the one with no shoulder. So the first thing I'm going to do on this one with the shoulder, I'll measure my neckline depth, which should be 5 inches, and the width, which should be 3 inches. I will connect the points together. Remember, as a beginner, always use your nipple to nipple measure divided by 2 for your neckline. So from this point, I'm going to come down by 3. Just watch as I do it. Then I will connect to this very point as you see me do. You can make it more curvier than this. So after doing it this way, I'm just going to cut it out. For me, a sweetheart neckline shows more on the one without shoulder. But on this image, it's so beautiful. Look, your sweetheart neckline is ready with the shoulder. Now, without the shoulder, you want a strapless neckline, sweetheart neckline. What I will just do is, I will just connect this curve, this neckline curve, down to my armhole. See the way I'm going to do it. See, fashion is very beautiful. You can just, once you're with your pattern paper, you can try anything you lay your hands on. Look at how I connected it. I'll just straighten up the edges and cut it out. You see, my sweetheart neckline without the shoulder is ready. You see how beautiful it is? Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe, like, and share. Bye bye.